Ain't gonna do it.
Okay.
We're live. You mean we're live?
I'm not sure. I have to check for a
I'm
pulse.
alive, I think. Last time I checked, I was alive. But it's all great to see Debbie in there hanging out. Anybody else?
Yep.
Kathy was in here. Riz, good deal.
What did we get before it started to melt? 6?
Well, between 6 and 8.
Yeah. 2 to 4 became
much
6 to 8.
blowing around. I mean, it was blowing around in the air, but I don't know if it was drifting that bad. But it was more than I care to see. Next winter, we will be somewhere where if we want to see snow, we'll travel to it, not wait for it to fall out of the sky.
My.
That was supposed to be the plan this year. But somebody said, let's build a campground.
See, it's your fault.
It's always my fault.
That's the way a good husband's supposed to be.
Hi, Mama
It's always
Jan.
your fault. Hi, Mama Jan.
Just kind of hanging out, waiting for a few to jump in here.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, Debbie.
Get our usual 15 to 20. We'll be good. Great to see everybody popping in. I don't get a chance to do that when I'm streaming because I can't see his chat. Yeah, you better get that right. You don't want to be pointing the wrong way.
For all those that can't stand things out of order. I see
Of course,
4.
I really mess up and point this way.
Yeah. Well, then you're pointing at the dogs.
I don't think they care.
Nah.
See if I can do this.
C4 says we're on the big screen. You show our messy couch.
Yeah, the dog couch.
The dog couch.
The hard rock on this end and Coda on the other end. And they're a kickback.
Yeah, she's going to show her best side.
She's got the radar dish up there. Oh, shadow light. Let me turn that. And that gets far over in the picture anyway. Almost can't see the flag.
Hi, Slim.
Hey, Slim, good to see you. See you for freedom.
Say hi to Charlene for us. I'm sure she's busy.
At least one person has us on down camp.
Yeah. Well, everybody has this on because she said we're on the big screen.
That's right. Which big screen?
I guess in the camper.
Oh. I didn't know it was a big screen. Somebody must have bought a TV.
Wow, it's bigger than the phone.
Yeah, that's the one I was waiting on.
Hi, Dustin. Hi, Sean.
Good to see you, Dustin and Sean.
Buenas noches.
Much better half. Funny you didn't say it when I was down there. Yeah, I admit she's much better. No argument there.
Hi, Lola. LA Forgiven.
Yeah, I got a few things to talk about tonight. First of all, the work to get electric in camp is done. The only thing left is for Potomac Edison to do their work.
Oh, you have to do one more brace, don't you?
And that will be, well, that's just for the initial power up.
No.
The brace, we can get it done. It's going to be, the inspector said it'd probably be about 2 weeks, whatever that means, for the big truck to show up and put up our transformer and tell us where we need to put the other pole.
Where they need to put the other pole.
Yeah. Something like that. Need to move my mouse. It's covering up the words. But that's big news. The other big news is, of course, we got the stakes laid out for the first building, which will be the shed.
No, what?
Shed with
What?
porch.
No, Mama Jan called it Camp Freedom Lodge.
Lodge, that's right. We can call it the lodge. That's right. No, sorry, dude. You can take your all that over on Twitch. We don't need any of that. Sorry. Thanks anyway.
Yeah, we do just fine all on our own. We have everybody we need.
Twitch is a horse of another color.
Yeah, Twitch is just it's in that stage that YouTube and Rumble's already been through.
I saw they added something besides just chatting, didn't they? They added a new category about blogging or something.
I'm not sure about Twitch, but I know that Rumble redid their thing where you can pick a category and a subcategory.
Patriot jail. You tell them, Sean. We got a special place in camp just for people that don't hit the like button. They're in that little green building.
I thought maybe make them live
Third floor.
make them live in the foundation.
No, it's packed full of rocks and tin right now. We'd have to clear it out. But it's been an enjoyable couple of 3 days at home. Didn't get a lot of work done thanks to the weather, but was able to relax and take care of the shoulder a little extra, which was in need.
Yeah,
And
sleep under his electric
got
blanket.
to sleep in my bed under my electric blanket. Well, it was needed. 18 degrees last night.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. You want electric blankets.
Oh, and I found out when I got the electric bill, when the electric's off for 20 hours, you save $1 an hour.
Oh, $1 an hour.
Yeah.
Save $20.
Our bill was $20 less.
May 24th. So excited. Well, Mama Jan will be marking it on the calendar, and that is really exciting. You betcha. Yes. Big hand for Mama Jan.
Yes.
I like that rhyme too.
Yeah. Yes, C4, from the looks of it, y'all did get a lot of cleanup and stuff done. That was really great.
Yeah, I checked out the videos. Little shorties y'all sent over. Looking real good. Really appreciate the work y'all doing.
Absolutely.
It'll be
What is it?
it'll be written down in historical, what do they call that?
What is it? Many hands make light the work.
Yeah, historical journals. It'll all be written down. People that built Camp Freedom. And all that cleaning stuff up and cutting stuff and all that's all part of building. Because we got to get rid of that stuff before we can build the things that I want to build up on the hill. I'm done talking about them when we get to building. And if building things goes as good as putting in electric panels, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think we'll be all right.
Oh, got a good electrician.
And there's a good chance we can need another panel just like the one we got put in. Since it's a 200 amp, we was hoping for a 400 amp box, but the one that's there is a 200 amp. And what the idea is, we have to split it anyway to go across the stream. So next step for that in the near future will be adding another pole and another panel. And I think it's about time.
Careful, that thing might go off.
I think it's about time. I don't think I asked you today, and you made it sound like it'd be okay to announce something if it was legally possible yet.
There's been so much went on today, and then I tried to cut the end of my finger off. Yeah.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure after I read through the paperwork again, I'm pretty sure.
She's only pretty sure. Hold on. You might want to plug your ears.
I'm Not 100%, but I'm pretty sure.
You go ahead and announce it. I'm gonna hit my bow in celebration of that.
Well,
Da-da-da.
if I read the paper right, we did get our nonprofit status. I have to double check their work.
How's that for some news, folks? Camp Freedom, by way of And Then Some Again Incorporated, is a non-profit company.
Yeah.
That'd be the way to say it, right? Non-profit company.
Nonprofit corporation.
Corporation. I like the sound of corporation. I like the sound of that.
Well, Sean, y'all's lucky that you got heat and electric and and water, let alone room service.
He wants to banish the mud, though.
Oh yeah, I'm all for that.
That's going to be around a while, I would imagine. Yes. If anybody asks, we are a non-profit organization. That's the word I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
A non-profit organization. Camp Freedom. Which will mean a lot of big changes as far as the amount of people paying attention. And what we're hoping for is, well, it's not a matter of hoping. I think it's just a matter of time until we attract the right investors with the right amount of money so that we can really put a shine on this camp. We're doing our best with what we got to work with, and we appreciate any and all donations in that direction. And now we'll be able to offer people any donations or certain donations to be taxed.
It depends on your individual taxes. That's
Something about your individual taxes over there.
They have like a lower limit. You have to
like people donate or contributing. Yeah, got to get rid of that D word. Contributing items instead of money.
Yeah, that's you keep your receipts and
yeah. So it is official, and we can offer tax write-off status. I guess is the way you would say it. I'm gonna get used to all these new phrases.
Yeah, C4 been there, done that.
Okay, here comes Bob. There's Bob.
I never called it mud riding, but there's been several times I've slipped and end up on my bottom.
Oh yeah, you can get that muddy bottom real quick.
Yeah.
Down there's all kinds of angles.
Yeah, and they can take some West Virginia mud back with them to Florida.
That's right. Oh, cool deal, Sean. Bet you were awake when you were done, wasn't you?
Yeah, that was definitely refreshing.
You didn't go in there by the gate, did you? That's pretty deep.
Come out with a crawdad hanging off his britches.
Well, you can get those up in the spring too. Yeah. But yeah, it's great, and everything's going according to plan. I'm working on drawing the camp map, if you can believe it. It's going to be a detailed map. It's going to take a little time, but I've given it a couple of good go rounds.
Well, it's hard to get the proportions right.
I gotta find a mapping app where I can draw my own lines on it and then pull up map a camp and draw the lines where I know where they are.
You know, you have a S Pen now. You can draw your own lines.
I almost forgot. Yeah, I got an S Pen now. Look at that, it even turned on by itself. I got a phone that matches blue now. It does everything by itself. Blue's gonna like this one. Gotta get him wired up. Yeah, we got this little deal down here in the bottom.
And
that's what you're talking about.
I don't want to hear any. I don't want to hear any complaints about my phone's not working right for 36 months.
We turned him on. He whistles. Okay, you stop now.
He's been playing with that all day.
Yeah, but y'all want to see something? And I only took this because there's a lot of different colors in it. Okay. Not in order to show you the mess in the room, but in order to show you the fact of how many different colors this thing has and the pixels. And this is a 200 megapixel.
Yeah, 200 megapixels.
200 megapixel picture. Hopefully it comes out on here. That is incredible. All the different colors, the oranges, the yellows, the different light from the kitchen. It's crazy. Been waiting a while. We got to navigate.
Yeah, Blue wanted to keep the old phone because he couldn't figure out why he couldn't get his phone attached to buckle into the Bluetooth. Blue was looking for the old phone.
Where was it? Oh.
There we got him fascinated with the phone again. You talk about me being a crow.
You crow all the time. I don't get to it very often. Why don't you talk while I'm a crow?
Oh, I was just trying to figure
Where's
out
that white book at?
in the bedroom.
No, I heard this on my phone.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Why they never do extra shit? There it is. That's the news.
That's why they have that little search thing up there that looks like a magnifying glass. You type in what you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I confirm I'm over 13. Yeah.
Some
Yeah,
days.
it's got to be over 13. I think I qualify.
Some days.
Let's see. Continue. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Drawing. Yeah, there we go. Turn on what? Harm rejection. Might be R-rated for that.
I'm not saying a word.
I don't know what it is, but I think I'll turn it on. Okay, there we go. Let's go with blue. Well, I can't see it because of the lighting. I placed the camera on the laptop. Yep, stylus. I guess that's another good word for it.
Yeah. S Pen.
Stylus.
Yeah. Yeah, he almost lost it a while ago. That's what I'm waiting to hear. I can't find my pen.
No, the phone's supposed to tell me when it ain't in there.
The
I gotta
phone's,
reset it.
the phone's supposed to tell you.
Yeah, like Blue tells. Blue tells me when the turn signal's on too long. Stuff like that. Hey, if we're gonna do this tech thing, we might as well go all the way. AI, bring it on.
I don't know if I want to go quite that far.
I'm retired. I need a couple of good AI robots.
I will keep the regular dogs though.
Learn colors. I couldn't see the lines because of the glare. This is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
They can't hear us do that. So we need to stop.
I think that's a.
See, this was a pretty good hint that everything's worked okay. We got one of them pretty cool books. What are you doing?
Well, what's it look like? That's one of those questions that could get you a bad answer.
Well, we're still PG, sir.
It's like the old joke that David Brunner used to say when he was sitting on when he was riding the subway, sitting on a paper. Somebody would walk up to him and say, "You reading that paper?" And he said, he stood up, turned the page, and sat back down.
Well, we'll do some reading, but it isn't a newspaper, and I'm not using my butt to read it. How's that?
Hi, Scooter.
I know there have been a few people waiting on this one since Ms. Q been reading out of Mr. Liberty.
Yeah, well, and
don't know we'd save face to make. Maybe you don't have to delete or put it on private.
Yeah, well, that book is very pertinent to today's. Well, words is always pertinent because of the intent and the power of words.
Well, what I've noticed, and the reason I want to read this all the way through and make sure that we pull the clips, you'll be able to do that eventually, right? Pull where I do the reading and put it all together in one thing, because that would be really important, simply because I hear a lot of patriots that have a lot of negative self-talk, and that's not good. We need to have positive self-talk as patriots. This job is going to be tough. This job is going to take a long time, but this job can be completed, and that job is saving this republic from these socialists and these communists that are trying to ruin this country. We all know it's happening. Everybody's starting to talk about it more and more now, and the time has come for all of us to come together as patriots and recognize the fact that we are individuals, that we want individualism. That's what being a patriot and being a part of the republic is all about. It's we don't have a democracy here. We have a republic, and that republic is all about being an individual and being represented by as small a government as possible. Two things that aren't happening right now, and that's why words are very important, especially negative words that can hurt your brain and create negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts can create negative actions. We don't need negative actions. We need actions. We need people that know how to be positive about all the right things. Freedom is the best thing I know how to be positive about. So, chapter 13, and this fits right in with our little banter earlier. If it isn't simple, it won't work. The more we have learned about self-talk, the more ways we have found to use it. Ways that make it easier to practice and learn and make it more lasting and effective at the same time. No idea, no matter how good, will work if it doesn't get used. When I studied the field of self-help and examined the many concepts available, I found some self-help concepts that made a lot of sense and could have worked, but they were too difficult to put into practice. Even with the most ardent self-improvement enthusiast, any program that takes too much time, requires too much sacrifice, or is too complex to use easily will not get used. I suspect that some of the best self-improvement books and cassette programs ever written are gathering dust on the shelf or are tucked away in some closet, safely out of sight and out of mind behind a stack of 2-year-old magazines, which will also not get read. Self-help books and tapes too often fall into the same category as home exercise machines that were used once and put away. They're like barbells, gym sets, sand-filled weight loss belts, jogging shoes, home study foreign language courses, all of which seemed like a great idea at the time we bought them, but it took too much work. So we hid them away and told ourselves we would bring them back out of hiding and get started using them a little later. Instead of having a revered place in the family den and eventually being worn out through every use, the books, gadgets, and costly gizmos of self-improvement often end up on the bargain tables of neighborhood garage sales. I've met dozens of people who have told me about the self-help books and programs that they have started, but never finished, let alone put into practice. I can sympathize with them. Wading through a self-help program which demands a monastic regime of diligence and self-sacrifice does not stimulate enthusiastic involvement, and even the simplest of programs are hard enough to stick with. Putting it off. When it comes to spending our time doing those things which would do the most for us in return, self-improvement rarely comes first. The normal distractions of everyday living are enough to keep even the most hopeful and needing individual from expending the time or energy to make a break or get ahead. Self-improvement is one of those strange remedies which, though the advantage it offers should put it first on our list, we all too easily put off doing anything about it when we need it the most, postponing our decisions to fix the leaking roof until a day when there is no more rain in sight. We know we need it, but other things come first. When I first witnessed the sometimes astonishing effects that people were experiencing in their lives after putting into practice some of the self-help ideas and techniques which they had learned, I was dismayed when I saw so many others failing to do the same. I was saddened to see the results which low self-esteem and negative self-belief were creating in so many lives, when it was apparent that with a little effort on anyone's part, it did not have to be that way. But I also observed how few people who wanted to make a significant change in their lives had the determination and self-motivation to work at making the changes. It was only later, after I had analyzed the methods people were using to make those changes, that I understood why so few were using them. Unless an individual's predisposition to self-determination was strong enough, unless a person's heredity and early conditioning created an attitude and a will which demanded improvement and change, the normal obstacles of day-to-day life always stopped them short. Most of us know we could do better. I doubt that I could find 10 people who, when pressed, would not say that they too would like to improve something about themselves. We are also aware of the benefits which create improvements in ourselves creates in our lives. We are well aware of the material advantages we would like to have: a new home, a new car, new clothes, furniture, more money in the bank, and anything we have set our hearts on that a little extra money could give us. Most of us would also like to have more time freedom, more freedom to do the things we want. Time to travel, time to spend with our families, time to relax, time to enjoy, time to create, or time to spend with others doing the things we like to do. And many of us would like to improve our education, learn something new, take up new interests, and develop our skills. The competition of daily living. Through some natural law of cause and effect, when we improve ourselves, the things we would like to have in our lives follow naturally. Improve who you are, and by that same law, you will improve your life. The more successful you become inside, the more successes you will automatically create on the outside. But making changes on the inside is seldom as easily accomplished as we would like it to be. When we decide to change, we are suddenly confronted with a wall of obstacles we would rather not have bargained for. When we commit to change, we suddenly find ourselves confronted with some unexpected competition. When we want to improve ourselves in some way, we are not just competing with our old programming. We are competing with the requirements of daily living. Each of us has 3 resources which allow us to get through any given day. Those resources are our time, our energy, and our mind. What and how we think. Our desire to improve ourselves competes with the time we spend working, taking care of our families, and taking care of the rest of our needs. It competes with the energy we consume doing everything necessary just to keep our lives in some reasonable order. Sometimes, most days, for some of us, there is just no energy left. Our desire to improve ourselves competes with the demands which we or others have placed on us mentally as well. We have so many things to think about, so many small and big decisions to make, things to figure out, problems to solve, things to consider, understand, and deal with. We are so busy taking care of first things first that we have no time, energy, or thought left to take care of the one thing that could make all the other things work better. We are too busy fixing the train to realize that we are on the wrong track. We are too busy staying alive to figure out how to live. There's a good t-shirt for you.
Yeah.
I remember the excitement I first felt when many years ago I happened upon what I thought to be the most exceptional self-improvement idea I had ever encountered. It was a simple idea which would require only that I spend 20 minutes each night writing my goals, reviewing my progress, and mentally visualizing reaching each goal I was setting. I didn't have to be convinced that if I spent even that small amount of time each day concentrating on my goals, especially at night just before I went to sleep, dreaming about them, that I could achieve anything I wanted. It is an old idea and it really works. What I did not know then, but soon learned, was that even 20 minutes a night is sometimes hard to come by. When you're holding down a job, raising a family, and going back to school with a full-time college-level course load, just trying to get 5 or 6 hours of sleep at night is a challenge. When my mind was somewhere between studying for a psychology exam and finishing a business plan that was due at 8 o'clock at the office the next morning, the 20 minutes I was supposed to spend each night working out my goal plan and improving myself soon moved from an exalted position of importance to an impossible chore. It's hard to study your goals when you can't keep your eyes open. My first experience with self-improvement was not unique. The idea was great, and it still is. But as I learned later, the practical application of that great idea was not so practical. Get this a second. The right tools. To this day, millions of people have tried the same kinds of marvelous ideas with the same results. Of course, I doubt that more than a few thousand stuck it out and stayed with it. I always applaud those who have, but I feel deeply for those who could not. Those who wanted to achieve but did not, or could not, had somewhere inside themselves wanted to achieve just as much as those who did. They just didn't have the right tools. They didn't find a way to improve themselves that would work for them. Maybe they weren't as dedicated as the few who did succeed. Maybe other commitments in their lives got in the way. But they wanted to achieve, and if they had found the right way to do it, they would have. How then can any good and true idea which clearly could improve our lot in life hope to succeed when few of us have the time, physical energy, or mental energy left over to even give it a try? The answer is that question is very important. It is the answer which will make one good idea work when another will not. For any self-improvement concept to be successful, it has to be simple. It has to be easy to use, and when put into practice, it has to work all the time. Which brings us to chapter 14. The new techniques. What are you staring at me for?
You're reading, I'm paying attention. I'm not staring.
Ooh, but this is a long chapter. You get me started on this, we're gonna it's so silent self-talk, self-speak, self-conversation, self-write, take talk, an even better way. Whether believing or not. So I told you it's a long chapter.
Yeah.
Woo. Well, let's get started in it just a little ways. Because silent self-talk is good. And remember, always remember, I keep feeling like I need to go back and review the 4 stages?
Yeah.
Is it 4 or 5? It's 4. Chapter 14, the new techniques. The techniques that make self-talk work so well are simple, and they're surprisingly easy to use. Some of the techniques require spending time using them, but some of the techniques require no time at all. There are 5 different methods for using self-talk. You may choose to use some or all of them. The first one is silent self-talk. This is the self-talk that goes on all the time, although we are usually not even aware of it. Silent self-talk can be either a conscious or an unconscious internal dialogue. You remember when I talk about the staff meeting? Yeah. When you begin to replace old self-talk with positive new self-talk, this is one of the easiest and most natural techniques to use. Even now, after just becoming aware of the difference between the negative level talk of level 1 and level 2, there is a good chance that you are already starting to use the positive self-talk of level 3 and level 4 when you silently talk to yourself. It is an easy change to make. It takes more awareness than effort and soon becomes a natural and automatic self-talk habit. Silent self-talk includes anything and everything you think about yourself or anything else around you. It is that subtle shift in your attitude from ever again looking at things in a negative way to looking at everything in a more positive, productive way. Instead of waking up in the morning and telling yourself you wish you didn't have to get out of bed, your new self-talk should tell you that it's a great day to be alive and it's time to get at it. Since most of those things we call problems are really only perceived as problems, the way you look at each of them determines whether they are real or not. You need only tell yourself to see them in a better way. If you think that might sound a little too easy, try it for a day and see what happens. Remember, when you begin rephrasing your self-talk from the old to the new, your old programming will try to talk you out of it. So when you get started, start first with the decision to not listen to the earlier negative programming which tries to tell you that it won't work. Remember, too, that your old self-talk is a habit. It feels natural and it feels comfortable, even if it is negative. By knowing what to expect, you'll be ready to meet that old self-talk head on, override it, and begin building that new habit. Within even a day or two, you will start to notice everything you've been saying to yourself that could work against you. When you made the decision to throw the old furniture out of your mental apartment, you'll know when you're trying to bring it back in. Put your foot down, get tough, and keep it out. As you get started during each day, listen to everything you say when you talk to yourself. Make a mental note of anything you think or say to yourself that sounds like the wrong kind of self-talk and immediately turn it around and rephrase it in the positive. I just can't seem to get organized today immediately becomes I am organized and in control today, especially. When you hear yourself say something like that, I've really got a problem with this, ... turn it around and say, I can handle this, not only this, but anything. I'm a capable person and I handle problems well. I just can't seem to lose weight becomes losing weight is never a problem for me. I eat exactly what I should and only the right healthy amounts. I'm losing weight and looking great. Instead of telling yourself that you're tired at a time of the day when you can't afford to be tired, immediately tell yourself that you have plenty of energy and enthusiasm. And if it doesn't suddenly make you jump up and down with energy, that's okay. You're working on a whole new way to talk to yourself, and you're starting to give your subconscious mind a new set of directions. Yes, that's right, a new habit. Just keep doing it every chance you get, and it will start working for you. How we feel, tired or energetic, listless or enthusiastic, is mental and chemical. It is known as physiology. Think of a time when you feel that you don't want to even get up and out of the chair. It's been a long day. You worked hard and you're physically and mentally exhausted. Then the phone rings, and at just the right phone call at just the right moment, someone calling with good news or someone who is the most important person in the world to you. What suddenly happens to your energy? What happens to that enthusiasm? A surge of adrenaline hits your system and brings you back to life instantly. Has anything really changed? just the signals you sent to your brain, and in turn, the switches your brain turned on for you, sending messages to every part of your system, telling you to suddenly feel great when only moments before you couldn't even get out of the chair. Many of the messages you give yourself through your silent self-talk may not be as obvious, but the brain responds just as immediately and produces results, whether they are noticed or not, that are just as powerful. Remember, the thoughts you think are electrical impulses, which direct the brain to turn important switches in your mental control center on or off. By replacing your earlier negative or neutral self-talk with new commands, you are activating healthy, productive chemical and electrical control centers in your brain, which will automatically work for you instead of against you. We have all experienced times when one argument in the morning can ruin the whole day. Change the programming. Rephrase your silent thoughts to yourself. Instead of losing a day to depression or dejection, you will gain one more precious day of worthwhile accomplishment. You will feel better emotionally. You will be healthier, both mental and physically. You will get along better with others. Instead of chalking the day up as a loss, you will have earned yourself exactly one more win. And the next part of this chapter is self-speak. And my voice is going to say, we're going to save that for next time.
Yeah, well, what you were talking about, the scientists tell us that between 2 and 3 every afternoon, you get that lag in energy. It's right after lunch, and it's hard to get through that. And they've told us that so many times. That's part of our natural circadian rhythm, that we believe that between 2 and 3 o'clock every afternoon, we're going to be tired.
Right.
And I do. When I take an afternoon nap, that's usually when I take it.
Well, and people south of the border don't help much with their siesta time.
Yeah, but that's because it's the hottest part of the day.
That's for them the hottest part of the day. It's culture.
Yeah, between 1 and 3.
But it bled north.
Yeah.
Everybody wants siesta.
If you don't want to get heat stroke.
Of course, I could always say I want a siesta under my electric blanket because it's 10 degrees.
with a wind chill of 10 below.
Yeah. Oh, y'all are welcome, Mama Jane. I love doing it. Hope y'all get as much out of it as I do.
Yeah, but you just have to remember that every time you turn on the radio or the television, there's going to be somebody giving you negative talk.
Well, Yellow Rose, yeah.
Hi, Yellow Rose. Hi, Ron.
This evening,
I know you're lurking somewhere.
You missed some reading, but then a couple of big announcements, which I believe I'll let you make. I'm going to hush for a minute.
Well, you're going back to camp tomorrow.
Well, that's a gimme.
It's one of them.
What am I going for? It might be one of the announcements.
What are you going for? Well, I thought we mostly got the electric project.
Electric project's done.
We're just waiting on Pot Ed.
Next project
is to start on the lodge.
Start on the lodge.
And
start on the parking lot.
And work over at the other piece of property.
I have to be in 3 places at one time. I haven't figured that one out yet, but we're going to pull it off.
Well, let's see. What was that Marvel character, a Gemini man that could split himself?
I need that. I need 3 of me right now. I have 3 large projects all at one time. So, and Dustin, you might want to help me remember to get in the glove box and get those weekend work deals out and distribute them.
Maybe we'll get some takers.
People learning about it. Put them in the glove box. I just found them today. Oh, okay. Painting. Yeah.
I like to paint.
I like painting with that new way with
the spray
compressor.
Yeah, I've seen your painting ability.
Yeah, this was brush and roller.
I know.
Still
You
got some
s-
of the original color, which actually I think we're going to go back to.
Yeah, but no, attention to detail is not your strong point.
I wasn't planning on being attention to detail.
You got paint on my wood I can't get off. Yeah, I'm one of those people that
Yeah, come
I
on.
really don't care for painted wood, but
All you gotta do is
frames.
shave a little off, and revarnish it.
Yeah, I know.
It's a deal. It'll work.
Oh, been there, done that, Debbie. My heart goes out to him.
Yeah, I remember the bulging part. Sure do. Be praying for him.
I think it's fun to paint. I
Well,
like.
get busy. You keep talking about it.
I know.
You ain't even picked a color yet.
Well, I picked a couple, but instead of, I was looking for that was outdoor painting, but I'm
Oh,
thinking
you want me to read out this other book?
I was thinking of just replacing the windows instead.
I think this is it.
Oh, I thought you had that marked. You were sitting there looking at it today.
This one. You don't need to mark. It's called chapter section 6.
Well, here, if you're,
Ooh, I don't know.
Ah.
We'll get canceled. You want me to hand her this?
well, it's pertinent to today's topics, today's headlines.
Yeah. Silicon Valley Bank closing. And this is called The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is
If you
closed.
if you check out the Gateway Pundit, they have a couple of articles about some of the banks that are in trouble now and how much money that they've given to things like BLM and how woke they are, and now they're failing.
Well, we're cutting them some slack, like 720 pages.
Yeah.
You don't have to listen to the whole book on this one.
But
Only, what's the title of that chapter?
time travel into the future.
Ooh, and remember, when was this written?
Well, this book, the first edition, was put out in 1994
94.
by G. Edward
I
Griffin.
met him in Aruba in 97.
Yeah, so we're 94, 2004. We're almost 20 years into the future from when he wrote this book.
Oh, wait till you hear this chapter. That's why I just said he nailed it. Big time. Matter of fact, he's still nailing it.
Yeah.
Every day.
In the previous sections of this book, we have traveled through time. We began our journey by stepping into the past. As we crisscrossed the centuries, we observed wars, treachery, profiteering, and political deception. That has brought us to the present. Now we are prepared to ride our time machine into the future. It will be a hair-raising trip. Much of what lies ahead will be unpleasant, but it has not yet come to pass. It is merely the projection of present forces. If we do not like what we see, we still have an opportunity to change those forces. The future will be what we choose to make it. Doomsday mechanism. The decline of American prosperity, the increase in the size of government, the decrease in personal freedom, the growth of taxes, evidence that this is according to plan by an elite ruling group which hopes to merge the United States into a world government on the basis of equality with less developed nations. The environmentalist movement shown to be an outgrowth of that plan. That's enough history for one book. It will soon be time to reset the coordinates on our time machine and jump into the future. Before activating that switch, however, let's take one last look around us. The future is molded by the present. Where we are now will greatly affect where we are going to be. One of the most obvious characteristics of our present time is the extent to which Americans and their government have become mired in debt. Annual federal deficits have grown steadily since 1950, and the rate of growth is now in vertical climb. It had taken 198 years for the federal government to borrow the first $1 trillion. Then, in just 12 years, mostly under the Reagan administration, it borrowed another $3 trillion. By the end of 1995, after 3 years of the Clinton administration, the debt had grown to about $5 trillion. It is difficult to comprehend the numbers of that size or to translate them into their effect upon each of us. $5 trillion represents about 80% of all goods sold and all services rendered in America throughout the entire year. If you had a stack of $100 bills 40 inches high, you would be a millionaire. 5 trillion would rise 3,350 miles into space. By 1993, net interest payments on that debt were running $214 billion per year. That consumed about 14% of all federal revenue. It now represents the government's largest single expense, greater than defense, greater than the combined cost of the Departments of Agriculture, Education, Energy, Housing and Urban Development, Interior, Justice, Labor, State, Transportation, and Veterans Affairs. These charges are not paid by the government, they are paid by you. You provide the money through taxes and inflation. The cost is currently about $4,500 for each family of 4. All families pay through inflation, but not all pay taxes. The cost of each tax-paying family, therefore, is higher. On average, over $5,000 is extracted from your family each year, not to provide the government services or even to pay off previous debt. Nothing is produced by it, not even roads or government buildings. No welfare or medical benefits come out of it. No salaries are paid by it. The nation's standard of living is not raised by it. It does nothing except pay interest. Furthermore, the interest is compounded, which means even if the government were to completely stop its deficit spending, the total debt would continue to grow as a result of interest on that portion that already exists. In 1995, interest on the national debt was already consuming 57% of all the revenue collected by income taxes. At the present rate of expansion, it will consume 100% by the year 2010. That includes corporate taxes. Interest will consume 100% of our personal income taxes much sooner. Amazing, isn't it? Without interest on the national debt, we would save enough to reduce corporate taxes and eliminate personal income taxes altogether. Unfortunately, under present policies and programs, that is not going to happen because Congress does not live within its income. Many expenses are paid not from taxes, but from selling government bonds and going deeper into debt each year. So even though we could save enough to eliminate personal income taxes, it would not be enough. The government would still go into the red to keep up its present lifestyle. However, if a reduction in the size and scope of the bureaucracy were accomplished at the same time, then personal and corporate income taxes could be entirely eliminated and the government would have an annual surplus. Unfortunately, the locomotive is running in the opposite direction. The size of government is growing larger, not smaller. There are more people working for government than for all manufacturing companies in the private sector. There are more bank regulators than bankers, more Farm Bureau workers than farmers, more welfare administrators than recipients. There are more citizens receiving government checks than are paying income taxes. By 1996, welfare benefits in 29 states were higher than the average secretary's wage, and in 6 states they were more than the entry-level wage for computer programmers. When it is possible for people to vote on issues involving the transfer of wealth to themselves from others, the ballot box becomes a weapon with which the majority plunders the minority. That is the point of no return, the point where the doomsday mechanism begins to accelerate until the system self-destructs. The plundered grow weary of carrying the load and eventually join the plunderers. The productive base of the economy diminishes further and further until only the state remains. The doomsday mechanism is also operating within government itself. By 1992, more than half of all federal outlays went for what was called entitlements. Those are expenses such as Medicare, Social Security, and government retirement programs, which are based on promises of future payments. Many of them are contractual obligations, and millions of people depend on them. That does not mean they cannot be eliminated. For example, entitlements include $24 billion per year for food stamps. There is no contractual obligation to continue those, only political expediency. By now, most Americans have stood in grocery lines and watched the well-dressed customer in front of them use food stamps for ice cream, pretzels, candy, and wine, and then drive away in a late model car. The political function of food stamp program is not to help the hungry, but to buy votes. The programs that do involve contractual obligations, such as Social Security and Medicare, could be turned over to private firms which would not only operate them more efficiently, but also would pay out higher benefits. Congress, however, does not dare to touch these entitlements for fear of losing votes. Normally, with contracts for future obligations of this kind, the issuer is required by law to accumulate money in a fund to make sure that there will be enough available when future payments become due. The federal government does not abide by those laws. The funds exist on paper only. The money that comes in for future obligations is immediately spent and replaced by a government IOU. So as those future payments come due, all of the money must come from revenue being collected at that time. Herein lies the doomsday mechanism. These obligations will be paid out in future taxes or inflation. Entitlements currently represent 52% of all federal outlays, and they are growing at the rate of 12% a year. When this is added to a 14% that is now being spent for interest payments on the national debt, we come to the startling conclusion that 2/3 of all federal expenses are now entirely automatic, and that percentage is growing every month. Even if Congress were to stop all spending programs in the normal budget, dismantle the armed forces, close down all of the agencies and bureaus, stop all of the subsidiaries, and board up all of its buildings, including the White House, it would be able to reduce the present spending by only 1/3. And even that small amount is shrinking by 10 to 12% per year. That is a best case scenario. A real case is that Congress is accelerating its discretionary spending, not canceling it. One does not have to be a statistical analyst to figure out where this trend is headed. The biggest doomsday mechanism of all, however, is the Federal Reserve System. It will be recalled that every cent of our money supply, including coins, currency, and checkbook money, come into being for the purpose of being loaned to someone. These dollars will disappear when those loans are paid back. They exist only so long as the debt behind them exists. Underneath the pyramid of money supporting the entire structure are the so-called reserves that represent the Fed's monetization of the debt. If we tried to pay off the national debt, those reserves would also start to disappear, and our money supply would be undermined. The Federal Reserve would have to scramble into the money markets of the world and replace U.S. securities with bonds from corporations and other countries. Technically, that could be done, but the transition would be devastating. Under the Federal Reserve System, therefore, Congress shall be fearful to eliminate the national debt, even if it wanted to. These are the doomsday mechanisms already in operation. If we do not understand how they function, we will not be prepared for our trip into the future. The scene that will unfold there will appear too bizarre, the events too shocking. We would be convinced that something surely had gone wrong with our time machine.
Something wrong with the time machine.
Yeah,
Oh no!
they didn't have the DeLorean hooked up right.
I hauled the DeLorean one time.
Did it have a capacitor on it?
Yep. They're fully equipped, ready to get in and take off for the future.
Oh, that's right. You hauled that movie
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Worked for an old boy. Every time I went to get something, it's been in the movie. Got to see the shoe from the old woman in the shoe. Remember when they made that movie? Been what, in the 90s, I think it was? Or no, it had been in the 80s.
No, I don't remember that one.
It was a movie, something about a big shoe. I don't know if it was about the nursery rhyme or something. But it was they took a pickup truck and built a 20-foot shoe on it. Boot. I didn't haul it, they got to see it.
That was the first tiny home.
But no, it was funny because it was in truck stop. Remember it well. It was in truck stop in Vegas. And called for a load. The guy said, "Bro, I need you to go over to such and such address." And it's a show warehouse.
Yeah, where all the props from all the.
At the time, I didn't know what he meant when he said show.
Yeah.
The show warehouse. I studied on that all the way over. And I get there, and it looks like one of those back lots of Hollywood. With all the stuff behind the fence, and props and everything, and like part of an old cowboy town.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. I pull up to the dock, and the guy said, "Oh, man, you got the luck of the draw." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You get to haul one of the DeLoreans." One of the DeLoreans? You mean like Back to the Future DeLorean? He said, "Yeah, none other." Turns out there's 8 of them. At that time, I don't know how many there are now. This was back in
Right after the movie was filmed.
87,
Yeah.
88. Yeah, it was all in North American Van Lines. And, yeah, it was 80, would have been 80, no, 85. 84.
Yeah.
Yeah, 84, 85. 85, when was the first movie? 70s.
I don't know.
Back to the Future. The first
I didn't
one.
like them, so I didn't
I
watch
think
them.
it was the first one was in the late 70s. Come on, chat room. We got 10 people in there. I know we got some Back to the Future fans. But anyhow, it looked like a brand new car. Till you got a clutch. Then you saw the, what do you call it?
The capacitor?
Capacitor.
Flux capacitor?
The inside looked just like whenever he was sitting in it with the gauges and the dates and all that. It had all that on it. Everything. I mean, it was one of the vehicles. The guy told us that told me that it was the second one that they used, and it's the one that they used whenever they were riding down the street
Yeah.
when they were both sitting there,
Yeah.
because it's the only one that had both seats in it. The rest of them only had the driver's seat because of the way the camera was angled. So there's a little bit of movie trivia for you. Although that one probably sold didn't have trivia attached to it. What did he do? Make like 3 or 4 more of them, didn't he?
There was, I think, 3 of them. Like I said, I wasn't crazy about them. I like time travel movies, but that one just, I was amazed they made 2, let alone 3.
Okay. sleeping arrangements?
I don't want to know.
That's right. That's why I'm laughing. But big plans coming up. Going to be putting in working over at the lot, probably a lot this next trip, because we need to get a bunch of scrap gathered up so we can get that big yellow dumpster hauled out and make some money with it.
Yeah, they'd probably like to have it back.
They don't care. I told him, I said, well, it might be there till like July. He said, I don't care if it's there till December. As long as you're putting metal in it. We're making money. It ain't costing them anything to sit there. They got hundreds of them sitting all over the burg. So until next time, folks, I see everybody wants to head to bed. I want to do the same thing here pretty soon. So I believe we'll call it for tonight. We got a 4-hour in.
Thank everybody who was with us tonight. We appreciate your support and hanging out with us for an hour or two every night, almost every night.
Yep, absolutely.
So we'll see y'all next time. Y'all be safe, be blessed. More later.
I'll be back tomorrow. Me and Blue hit the road early. See you before lunch.
More later.
More later.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.